As a Christ follower, I've got to say something that's going to come off harsh, I think, to many Christians, probably most. But it's the truth, and I challenge you to correct me where I'm wrong. Rebuke me so that I may be wiser for it. How is it that Donald Trump has had the amount of access to your advice and counsel? So many evangelical leaders. And I'm talking about, here, let's name names because you guys have been out there. I'm talking about Franklin Graham, Pastor Robert Jeffress from First Baptist Dallas, Pastor Jack Graham from Prestonwood, Dallas, Josh Howerton, pastor, Lake Point, Dallas. How is it that Donald Trump has had the amount of access to you guys since 2016, yet he still doesn't know how to get to heaven, doesn't know what it takes to come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ?
You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly an Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
We've seen all the photo ops. This one. This one. How about this one? What exactly have you guys been praying over Donald Trump? For Donald Trump? Probably more like the sermon that Robert Jeffress was able to preach in 2017 on Inauguration Day to the Trump family. Did he preach about coming to know Jesus? No. He talked about how Donald Trump was being used by God, similar to Nehemiah, to build the wall. It leads me to question a couple of things. One, who was using who? Donald Trump saw a voting bloc, and you guys saw, in Robert Jeffress's words, the meanest, toughest SOB you could find to protect this nation. You guys oftentimes have likened Donald Trump to King Cyrus, when you know in your heart he's more like King Nebuchadnezzar. Only Donald Trump has yet to descend to the full depths of his insanity, and we are likely, as a result, to see the implications of that, if not this weekend with the coming demonstrations, then I believe soon, because he's got men whispering in his ear like Stephen Miller, men who are itching to see the demise of the people they perceive to be their enemies. Me, other people like me in this country. I've been told many times in the last several years that I should pray for our president, and I have. I put it out there publicly as an example of what Christians ought to be looking for in the then President of the United States, Donald Trump. What have you been praying for Donald Trump? What have you been praying over Donald Trump? Donald Trump is a man who has been used by Christian leadership in this country, and after 9 years of it, he doesn't know what it takes to get into heaven. Hypocrites, whitewashed tombs, blind guides, serpents. I think many Christians today will have to answer to history for this, and I believe many evangelical religious leaders today will have to answer to God.